Welcome, everybody, to the Daily Freaking Motion Show, okay?
What is up?
Welcome back.
I want to know what is up. What is up?
Oh, you want to know what's up?
I want to know what's up.
Oh, well, there's a ball up here. There's a little line up above you. I can't point to it, though. I can't get my hand all the way over there, unfortunately. But, yeah. What is up is that we be hanging. We be chilling, getting ready for a retreat, and I've got a fun topic for today.
You do?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about our top five favorite effects and After Effects. Welcome back to Watch Mojo Motion Design Edition. I have a couple that are sitting in there, but I figured it'd be fun to just screen share and be like, this one, because obviously, like, look at it does this and this and this, you know. And
Yeah.
I have a couple already sitting in there that are classics, but
Yeah.
I figure
I'm gonna make it.
we do that. Then we critique some work. Link in the description to submit your work. And then we'll just look at some recs. I have like 2 recs today, and that's that's it. And I will admit, I did wait to find them until like 5 minutes ago. So I swear they're really good, guys. They're really, really good.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's the plan for today. We're going to talk about some After Effects. It's going to be great. Everybody's going to be so excited that we'll be talking about motion.
Finally.
And yeah, finally, these guys are talking about some freaking motion. I gotta fix my hair though. It's going crazy. All right.
I'm making a quick little demonstration.
Do you have something pulled up already?
I have After Effects pulled up.
Okay, I do too. I just have like a vertical comp with a ball in it, basically. But let's head on over. I'll take the first one. All right? We can go back and forth on this. I give one, then you give one, and then I give one, and so on. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, let's just say we have this ball here, yes? I realize you can only see my browser. Sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with that. You'll see it on stream though.
Oh, come on.
For a second. I'll switch it in a second.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I like this. It's like a podcast experience.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Design podcast.
See, this is another reason why
happening.
we would never be able to actually have this be a podcast, because so much of what we're describing is like critiquing visual stuff on the screen. Whatever. Anyway, we've got our little ball here, right? Oh, which first of all, sad, no easing. No easing question mark?
Oh, gross.
Anyway, real sad. So I'm gonna just ease that puppy real quick. Do a little one of these. Like boom. Oh, now he goes down there and he hangs out. Boom.
Love it.
Just pop it in there. Isn't that fun? But wait a second. This
What are you
doesn't
about to do?
this doesn't feel quite right. Something just feels a little odd here. It's not super lively, May I present to you Echo? Okay? Echo,
Yeah!
Echo. May I present to you? Now, first of all, it just made my blue ball white. That's unfortunate. That's not what I wanted. So I'm just gonna set this to composite in back, and then look, now it's all blue. But look, we got a little smear there. All right, but it's just one that's kind of lagging behind. It looks a little funny because you can get some of these frames where it's very clearly like just a copy behind it, right? So what I typically do, just to make sure stuff's feeling extra smooth, is I set this number of echoes to 20. We got a ton of little copies back there. Now it will look ridiculous like this because I didn't change the amount of time that it lags behind. So you've got some of those copies that are still just sitting there like halfway through our animation, right? So what I'll do is, instead of this negative 0.0333 number, I'm gonna just change this to negative 0.0013. And then look, now we got a nice little smear behind our guy there. Isn't that fun? It's just got a little stretch to him now. It's a good time. We're having fun.
That's really cute, and I like it.
There's other little fun things that you can do. I mean, I'll up this just to up the number of echoes just to show it for an example. But if you do, there's this intensity. Oh, whoops. Okay, I realized that I should probably have less for this. If you change this intensity effect here, you can actually get it so that like you have this decaying trail, which I think is kind of fun. But I don't know. This just doesn't really fit with a lot of the styling and stuff that I do at the moment. But it's helpful sometimes. That's mine. That's my first one. I stole it. I stole Echo from you. How do you feel after that
I feel
experience?
fine because I'm gonna talk about Schmear.
That's a script, dog.
I know. But
Oh
it's,
my!
it's not. It doesn't
you
count as
freak.
one of mine.
All right. Okay, that's fine. Well, I'm switching over to you with your blue ball. Or is that my screen?
Yeah, probably yours.
I did just switch over to my screen. I was like, are you just watching my screen share? Is that what's happening? I see your red cube. Don't fret. Oh, I see. Yes, of course. Of course.
So, all right, we have this red cube here. And
What up?
it is being...
I'd say it's more of a rectangle, personally, but maybe
Okay.
that's just me. You know?
We can fucking...
Putting shapes into wood block holes, champion 2002 right here.
There you go.
Square
There's your
peg
cube.
does in fact go in the round hole. Anyway.
So, this little fella has a wonderful effect called compound blur on him.
What is compound blur? What does it do?
Compound blur blurs stuff according to another layer. And so if I hide this and turn this layer on, you'll notice we have a radial soft gradient over here and we have a hard just circle right there.
Hardball, softball.
And this guy is being blurred according to these shapes. And so you'll see on the bounds of this radial, it's being blurred in a sort of soft kind of way. And then inside of this shape, it's also being blurred. So I'll turn this guy's off and you can kind of see exactly what's happening. So it's using a sort of like a Lumamet. It's using the light, it's using grayscale, white to black, to tell it exactly how much to blur stuff and where. And it also incorporates a little bit of transparency in that.
And you were able to do that like with multiple shapes because you just have two shapes on that one shape layer. Yes?
That's right.
All right.
And I can make a new layer and just give
That's
it
a cool looking poster right there.
Oh,
Just saying. It's kind of fun.
We're gonna do just turbulent noise on it.
Oh, less cool poster.
Increase the contrast. Decrease the complexity a little bit.
It's going to be electric.
I want to make it bigger.
Hey, are you showing multiple effects right now?
No, I'm just
What
showing
the-
another application.
The hell do
So
you
I'm gonna
think
go
this
into here, and then I'm gonna select this gray solid instead. And maybe I need to increase the contrast more so that it's more apparent. And also change it to effects and masks. And then you can see that it's being blurred according to this little guy here. You can kind of make some interesting stuff with this. And then I can kind of scoot this around if I want. And it will not change because it is a effect, and so I have to change the effect. But you can kind of see it's being blurred according to the shape. So you can use all kinds of stuff there, and you can get some really interesting blurs. Like if you have just a regular shape that you want to kind of blur, but only in part of it, rather than like blurring it and then masking it out, and then you want to have another one, so you have to find another way to blur it. You can just compound blur it, make a sort of like a pattern that compound blur can look at and be like, all right, this is where I need to blur stuff. And then I don't know, it's useful in a bunch of different little scenarios when you just want to blur a little bit of something, and then also have that blur dynamically change. It's very cool.
Agreed.
That's shape number one, and I will just...
Shape number one?
I'm sorry, effect number one.
I was like, yes, this is our top. No. Let's change it. Let's change the segment. All right. That sounds way more fun. Our top 5 favorite shapes of all time.
My favorite shapes. And I do want to just give a shout out to Schmear. Because it is fantastic. Like it is just a script that is free, and it automatically gives you an echo, and you have like different kind of controls, and it automatically makes it very smooth, so you don't have to do as much finagling with exactly how many echoes and the time, and it just kind of is smooth and nice.
Yummy.
So,
Yummy.
shout out to Schmear.
Oh, you only have 2 frames now, son. Tragic. Somebody said in chat, music is so loud, man, can't hear anything. That is interesting.
No.
Perhaps
Turn down your music.
No, turn on your music if it's so loud. And then somebody else says, "Do screen big, please." Hey, no, can you just like, I don't know, like make your screen? You just like perfect. Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah. I think that's great. Yeah, that's great actually. Let's move on to another effect that I enjoy. I accidentally almost just hit stop streaming. That would have been awkward. Anyway, let's move on to another effect that I enjoy. I'm gonna give myself a couple different shapes here, just so that we can really understand this one. I'm gonna give myself a fully white one here, maybe a little yellow one. Ooh, a little more orange though, because that yellow is kind of nasty. And we'll do a polygon. Yeah, this is perfect. This looks great.
I love it.
Here's
my passion.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pre-comp all these guys. All right. I'm gonna just say shapes, and then I'm gonna say channel mixer. Okay. I bet you never heard of this one before. Okay. Now, something that is very helpful with animation in general is adding some imperfections in. Things that you would see as like camera imperfections, you know, so chromatic aberration, some like scratching on the lens, or, you know, those sorts of things. It's the same reason why 3D modelers will often add like fingerprints and other shit onto their materials, when otherwise, you know, they could just make them perfect. It's because it helps our brains sort of be like, yes, this is a real world I can live in. Yes, this is good. So this channel mixer thing will help you add chromatic aberration, get a little like rainbowy colors shredding on the sides of your composition and things. So what we're gonna do, you can see you've got these different settings in here. You've got your red channel, your green channel, and your blue channel. So effectively what we want to do is just set each of these pre-comps to one of those things. We want one to be our blue, one to be our green, and one to be our red. So that's what I'm gonna do. This top one, I just want it to be red, so I'm gonna put it to 0 on all these other ones. We're gonna change the blending mode to add. Then we're gonna go to this middle one, 0 on red and 0 on blue. Just green, change that one to add. And then down here, we want this to just be our blue. So 0 on red, 0 on green, 100% on blue. And then you could make this one add if you want, but since it's in the bottom of the layer stack, you don't have to, but I'll do it just for consistency's sake. And then what we're gonna do is take our little red guy up at the top here. I'm gonna grab scale. You can also do position if you want, but I've got something kind of on the edge here, so if I did position, it would look a little strange. And I'm gonna just increase this to like 101%, just to really show you what's going on here. So now you can see that red is very clearly just like slightly larger than everything else. So you're getting this like, anywhere that you're getting some of that red coloring is gonna like kind of bleed outside of your shapes in a fun thing. Anyway, you can also start to see some of these other colors popping out, especially when you have a white, because it'll start to split into the RGB of it all. And then I'll do a little bit on this middle one as well, like 100.5, but you really don't want to go too crazy with this. It is much better to have it be a subtle effect most of the time, because if you're doing like 110% and 105 or something, that's looking a little odd, you know? It's a little too much in some cases, whereas, you know, you can have it be a little understated. Just adds some nice little texture visually, especially if you've got something that's like entirely black and white. It can be really fun to add a little bit of chromatic aberration just to really have some flavors of color in there. Anyway, somebody in chat says, I don't even hear the music, only the voices. You should probably go see a shrink. I'm just saying. No, I didn't think it was super loud either, but I don't know. They also say, yo, Noah, you good, man? I think it's because he was zoning out, but that's okay. You know, this guy already knows about Channel Mixer. He doesn't need to hear more about it, okay?
I was messing with my own comp Because I'm setting another thing up for you guys.
Sebastian says, doesn't Deep Glow have chromatic aberration built in? Yes, but also some people aren't going to pay $45 for Deep Glow, and sometimes I still just do it this way because I don't really like the chromatic aberration that comes out of Deep Glow.
Sometimes the chromatic aberration that comes out of effects like Deep Glow isn't. It's also like not customizable. It's
not that much. You
customizable.
just kind of tell it the amount that you want and then in which channels. And like it works okay. I just feel like this has a little bit more like direct control to it, you know? And you can have it be really, really stark like this. I mean, look at that sort of just really sharp color bleeding compared to, I believe the chromatic aberration in Deep Glow, because it's with the glow itself, can often be much softer, you know?
Mm-hmm. And with this chromatic aberration, you can go in and combine this technique with other things like compound blur or different distortions. You can distort stuff in certain ways, and then you have this like ultimate customization and control over exactly how that color bleed is happening and where, and you know.
Because if you make a mask or do some sort of like liquefy or mesh warp or something, you could get some really interesting ways that those colors are bleeding out, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my second one, is channel mixer. Okay. Back to you, Noah, with this shit.
This shit. What's up? I'm mesh warping. I love mesh warp. I think mesh warp is
I
great.
just said mesh warp. This is crazy. It's like we set that up.
I know. Set it up and let me spike it. Because mesh warp is fantastic.
True.
It lets you just warp stuff with a mesh, and you can have customization over how many little things you want in your mesh.
Question, Noah, how many little things do you want in your mesh?
About 2, about 3.
Cool.
3 things. Rows and columns. And then it's just a fun way of a little distortion. And it's I think one of the I guess smoother and easier ways to distort stuff in After Effects. You can also keyframe the actual mesh itself.
Like realistically, you could get some things that look like their cell if you just really understand how you're setting your warp up and then know how to move your object around within the warp. You'll get some interesting results that otherwise you would have to hand draw.
It's just a darn good time.
Or
he warps.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Amazing.
Yeah, I like mesh warp. I think it's a very useful tool and can be combined with a lot of stuff to make some very interesting effects.
Agreed. Now, I got
your next one.
You already know. Come on. You gotta know at this point. We're gonna add an adjustment layer here. Okay. You know what we're gonna add to this puppy? Add grain. You just type add grain and it just adds grain for you. Now, okay, you can't even really see what's going on here because it's set to this preview mode, but we don't have a little baby computer, so we're saying final output. All right, but you're like, what? You can barely even see what's happening here. Now you just wait a goddamn minute. All right, here we go. We're gonna change the size of each of these grains to like I don't know, 0.6, I would say. Look, you can already see it a little bit more. What about 0.4? Oh shoot, we got a nice fine grain going on here. Isn't that fun? Let me walk you through what I normally do on these sorts of things. All right, we've got a color thing here. I normally just set this to monochromatic. I feel like black and white grain usually just adds itself over top of the other colors and things you already have rather nicely, especially if you're going to already have some chromatic aberration or something. I don't need a bunch of like miscellaneous pink, magenta pixels and stuff in there most of the time. Anyway, what I'll typically do is then also go to this animation tab, and I like a good chunky grain. So now if I have it just set to 1, let me actually not animate this thing anymore. Hold on. Let me just get that back in the center. All right. Now, if I just have it on 1, you can see that every single frame, it's giving you a different grain pattern. Especially if you have it really fine like this, that can get really jarring for the viewer and kind of distracting from whatever else you're actually wanting to animate. So what I typically do is set this animation speed to like 0.25. So it's only doing it every 4th frame. Or in my case, actually every 6th frame. But, you know, it just feels a little bit more approachable, I guess. It's not nearly as aggressive and assaulting on your eyeballs. And then the last little thing that I'll note on this is that I never really do just one pass of grain, because especially if you've got it on this application where it just applies over film the same way across to everything, it doesn't necessarily look fantastic on both the light and dark portions. So what I'll do is I'll just change this to be my shadows section, and I'll mostly want it applying to like this outside area, which would be a little bit easier if I actually had a black background. So I'll do that really quick. Fully background. Shoot. Now you can see we got all of our light grain outside of there. So what I'm going to do is just take the midtones down to like 0.25 and the highlights down to 0. So it's really only showing up on this dark background. And then when I've got a lot of dark space, I'll typically increase the size a bit so it's not so harsh. Then what I'll do is duplicate this effect in that same adjustment layer and call this one highlights. And then you can probably already guess what I'm going to do here. I'm going to have this be mostly applied to the midtones and the highlights and nothing on the shadows. Now you realize not really a whole lot is showing up on here, especially on these brighter colors. Like this white, you're not seeing anything there. So what I'll do is change this from film to multiply. So now we're getting that dark grain. And what I'll probably do is make this a bit more fine, but bring the intensity down as well. And then you've got grain that's kind of nicely applied to. It's the best of both worlds, you know? It's a good time. That's my other one.
That's beautiful.
I believe that's 4. Do you have, or is that 5? I don't know. Do you have one more?
I have one more.
Okay. Cool orb, brah.
Thanks, dude.
Cool orb, brah.
So, real quick, shout out to not add noise, but just noise, because it also, I've been tending to like that recently.
Whoa.
Add noise can be a little heavy sometimes, but it does get a better result if you tune it and stuff. But just regular noise is also nice and easy, and you can change it to color or not color. So shout out to that.
Shout out to noise.
Shout out to noise. I'm showing Colorama right now.
Whoa. Okay,
Yeah.
but can you also give it a big hefty dose of hate for this stupidness that
Yes,
is
I
like all of it?
absolutely can. This is a very old effect, and it's kind of confusing sometimes. There's a lot of things happening here. It's got a weird little UI happening. I have to get a free plugin called Colorama Dummy that lets me use the regular color picker, but look, I cancel it and it messes up my color. Oop. But you can see without Colorama, this is what it is, and it maps it to the light and dark. I can take away Colorama Dummy, and I will show you exactly what you have to deal with. You have to. Oh, it still works. That's unfortunate.
It's a very old Windows UI where it basically just has the swatches of the color. It does not have a normal color picker.
I can get it. So this is what it also comes in with, these colors.
Now, like, who the hell is using that first? Are you kidding me?
Oh, it still works. Darn.
I
Yeah, it's
figure
a really old.
It just
UI,
looks bad.
and it wants you to input like specific RGB values, and it doesn't take hex codes. So it is so annoying.
But
So anyway, I had this shape, and I turned it into this shape with this little mapping thing over here, and then I animated the shift in it, and
The shift
and now
in it?
now it shifts, and now it does this thing, which is kind of fun, and it's an
doesn't
easy
that
way.
look pretty?
It's an easy way to, like, let's say you have a gradient that you want to scroll through the background or something. You can just keep endlessly scrolling that if this lines up directly on top. There's like a couple little weird things with it, but if you have a smooth gradient and you just want it to shift and keep shifting, you don't have to do like Reptile or anything. You can just Colorama a black to white gradient. You can just do gradient overlay and then a Colorama on top, and then just animate that property right there. And you can just endlessly just shift it, and it'll just keep going. And it'll just keep going.
Shifted forward, shifted reverse. That's a
So,
thing, right?
Colorama. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Ayub says, "Hi guys, how about doing some breakdowns of some of your client projects like the Mega Agent project? That would be awesome too." I agree. Hey, maybe that happens tomorrow. Maybe that happens tomorrow. Come back for us breaking down some of the things from the Mega Agent Camp project. Why not?
Sure.
I think that'd be fun. Eventually, we'll have some consistency in like what days of the week or what type of the show. We'll always have work critique, and we'll always have,
if you're lucky,
recs and stuff. But some days maybe we talk about industry stuff. Some days we review things. Some days we show some After Effects tips and things. You know, could be fun. Could be fun. I don't know. But anyway,
it'll be a good time.
That's enough for our After Effects for today.
Yeah, those are some lovely little effects for you guys.
I hope that
some of our favorites
is helpful.
And we got through the whole list without mentioning turbulent displays. I'm shocked.
Wow, I am as well. There's really so many. You know, we could go through a bunch that we like actively use every day. But those are also ones that we use very often. So I don't know. It's like a what's in my bag After Effects video, you know? That's kind of what it would be like.
How much do you pay for rent?
How much do you pay for rent? Which is just Creative Cloud. Like, and I guess your computer's electricity intake. Anyway, shall we
computer is electricity.
Shall we critique some dang work, you think?
Nah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. You're right. I agree. You know, chest's been kind of stinky recently, so
I'm feeling really extra kind today. So
wow,
maybe we can do a few.
You know, me too. This sounds great. All right.
Okay.
Let's do that then. Here's one. Let me turn off the music. All right, here we go. Sorry for all my music lovers in the chat. And especially sorry to that guy who said that the music was too loud. Now it's just gone.
Not there.
We have Ramune K, a flavorous motion design project. All right.
It's
there
flavorous.
It is. It's flavorous. This is by Zelda. Wow. We finally found her after all these years.
Oh my god, I thought she
Somebody
was just
tell
a
Link.
legend.
Somebody tell Link, you know?
That?
All right, here we go. Oh, first of all, loving that this just perfectly flows together
God,
on your Behance project.
that.
That is very, very nice. Wonderful attention to detail. I love that. All right, let's give it a watch though. Please, no copyrighted music.
That's fun. That's fun.
That
Cute
was
short.
fun. That was fun, cute short. I like this thing that goes on here. Shink, shink, shink. I think it gets a little too blurred at some points. Like that transition happens so fast that I am a little bit like, okay, but what actually am I looking at? You know? And I think that happens with at a couple points throughout the video. I'm sort of feeling that where it's like, you know, I can see the noodles going on, and then I get like seafood, which that also disappears pretty quickly. You know, that's like a second, maybe half a second.
Maybe because I'm a slow reader, or maybe not. But I didn't read actually any of the things. I was just looking at the pictures. Like I was fully. The text does not have the weight that it.
I think
makes me want to read it.
I think it would have been helpful, just from a design perspective, to have some things that would indicate seafood like in the greater composition outside of here, you know, so people can like seafood, and you've got like, instead of just having it on the cup, you've got like a crab claw on this, like behind it over here, or like maybe even coming a little bit in front of the cup or something, or like a fish that jumps up and goes over seafood or something to like draw the eye in this direction to be able to read that type, but also just leave it on for a little bit longer. Same with this one. Like, it's kind of difficult to split the attention between the text over here and then also seeing all these icons to understand, okay, but like, what does barbecue actually mean, you know, in this context? Like, what sort of flavor should I really be expecting? Because I know what barbecue tastes like, but I think subliminally it can be helpful to like have some of those actual, especially when it's something related to food, you want people salivating over this stuff, you know? So get some of the actual food that those flavors are being taken from and just put them in the composition somewhere, you know?
Yeah. From a design standpoint, the actual titles at the end like the front of these little guys right there. Um, those are pretty consistent,
Mhm.
but the rest of it is not. I will like the yakisoba.
Like these kind of hand-drawn things versus this very like sharp vector
Yeah,
stuff.
and if you have this sharp vector stuff, but if you go to the seafood one, it's this like kind of detailed illustration of a fish,
Yeah.
and then more hand-drawn kind of vectory, but not like hand-drawn stuff down there, and then you have the barbecue. Like there from a branding perspective, there's some real inconsistencies here. And like some stuff has a lot of drop shadow and some stuff is just really flat. And then you show some food there at the end, like actual picture of ramen. But nowhere else I think is that present.
Yeah. Overall, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I usually get flack for this all the time. I just think it's too fast.
Yeah.
Honestly. Also, somebody in Drap Tap says noodles, particle effect, shape plus wiggle / right-on effects, or 3D stroke path. I think it's just a normal path, but with bevel and emboss on it.
I think so too. You can see where it intersects with itself.
Yeah, it just does the normal bevel and emboss thing, you know? And especially once it gets up here, that's just drip pads, you know? Because you can tell whenever it gets to that last little bit and it doesn't want to give up on the round cap, you know? So it keeps that little circle there.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I love the energy. It needs some help consistency-wise and just giving a little bit more breathing room on some stuff.
Also, your fake 3D rotation on the cups it doesn't come through super well. It does feel like a scrolling image. Maybe some distortion or something else will help it, but...
True. Could be cool to also just have this kind of boil or something.
Yeah,
you know, this like
texture.
texture that's sitting here. Could be cool. Could be fun. Anyway,
That's neat.
thank you, Zelda. I hope that was helpful. Here we go. NK Showreel
This
2023. Wait,
nuts.
okay, sorry. Hold on. We're really going to be in for a treat on this one, I think, because this says 2023, but this says 7 years ago. And as someone who has watched many a showreel,
I see.
anytime it's one that hasn't been updated in that long, this is going to be a fun time capsule, I think. All right, here we go. Whoops.
Oh. Hey.
Definitely going
That's
to be
a
seeing a
lot.
lot of
That's-
particle effects and things, I feel like.
That's a lot of things that are happening.
Off the bat, I want to know what you actually did for each of these. Because right now
Oh,
it just
yeah,
says
you can have, like,
commercials.
both.
I have no idea like what to actually hire you for in this, because I know you didn't make the entirety of these, you know?
Yeah.
Lots of really big name clients, though.
It feels like it's getting a little long.
Yep. It could have been done around the 45-second mark, I think.
Oh, that man just got iced.
There just isn't enough insight into what you actually did on each of these, though, for me to want to continue watching all of these, you know? Like,
Yeah.
at the point where it gets to, like, I mean, right around, like, 45 seconds, I'm like, okay. Like, great, we're seeing all of these commercials and things, like, all of these ads for big-name brands, but also, like,
I have no idea what your part on
there
this
is
was.
no idea of, like, what action to actually take from here, you know? Olgerd says he
Also,
probably edited the commercials. Also, these are some weird categories: commercial, campaign, fashion, kind of stretching it. I mean, Agreed. But also, he probably edited the commercials. We really have no idea because at the end he says editing, visual effects, motion graphics, compositing, and grading. So is that just all of every single one of these commercials was entirely like 100% edited by this person? I don't know. Because especially on some of these bigger campaigns and things, I don't know. I'm just kind of doubtful of that.
I've seen some reels where people kind of have a little like call out to what they did on the project, just small in the corner. And you already have like brands small in the corner, so I don't think it would not fit.
Yeah.
I feel like some of the cuts also could be timed a little bit better with the music.
Agreed. Also, can we just talk about the music for a second? The music is like the same thing over and over and over again for like 30 seconds straight or something of this minute and 15 reel. No, sorry, 2-minute reel.
Do some audio editing, make it a little bit more interesting.
Gotta add some difference in there because a lot of these commercials feel very similar. So if the music also feels that way, it's like I am stuck here. You know, like I don't know when I'm getting out. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to stop watching this. You know. Somebody, DrapTap says, when it comes to VFX, though, how granular should you really get into and explaining what you did? Like,
I mean, you can just say, like, I did the VFX.
Editing or VFX.
I worked on VFX or I worked on editing. Like, you don't have to say, I edited half of it or like, I edited this much.
I would like to see which of these on each of those videos, you know? Because that's the thing. Like, this is calling out a bunch of different things. And you know, it would just be good to know like what to actually assess in these, because I kind of feel like this reel, and I've seen lots of other reels similarly. I don't know for sure if this was happening, but it kind of feels like it's just riding off the coattails of like, these are big commercials with actors and actresses you recognize and brand names that you know, rather than necessarily on the actual work, you know? And that's not really going to be a great indicator of what to hire you for. I would much rather, especially on this shot or like any of these shots, it's just going to be incredibly important to know like what am I supposed to be looking at here in order to know if I'm supposed to hire you or not. If it's color grading, I need to be able to call that out to look at that and be like, is that good? You know, like, will that work for me?
I don't know the like legality of these things, but I have seen an editing / like he did a bunch of stuff. And he had little call outs, but he, like in parts of it, he showed sort of like the raw footage and then like did little passes until it like showed this final thing. And it was really cool to see like, oh, this is very clearly like what you did. You turned this very mediocre footage into something that's professional grade and fit for consumers and stuff. And so kind of showing that could also be another interesting way to take that and to be very to the point in what you do and what part you're taking in these brands.
True.
These advertisements. Very cool stuff. You've clearly worked with a lot of neato campaigns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only other thing I'll mention. The branding and stuff here does not match up with the oomph of a lot of these brands and the advertisements. This like this is just fading in on top. Like this is just fading in with a mask or something, despite you having this like really interesting particle thing. It does not feel like
particle thing's also very much in just a void, so it feels kind of small and not maybe as intense as you'd like it to be at the end.
It just, you know, I think it would honestly be more impactful to put each of these things on, which I have no idea what happened to this character.
Maybe it's still fading in.
No.
Oh, okay, that's awkward.
I really have no idea. I think it would be much more impactful to have these things. First, also, come on, Myriad Pro, you kidding me? Let's fix that. Anyway, it would be more impactful to have these things on the bottom of the video and then just hit this with your website and that's it. That would scream a lot more confidence to me, I think. Mm-hmm. Because by the time they get here, they should already know that you do all of those things. They already just watched through 2 minutes of stuff. If they have no idea what you're doing, like we don't, by the time they get to the end here, I don't really think the reel is doing its job.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, NK.
Thank you, okay.
I hope that was helpful. All right. We got one more, and we'll hop to our... Maybe actually we can go through another one, and then we'll hop to our Rex, because I only have 2 Rex, and they're kind of small.
We're kind of running through.
We are kind of running through them today. I think we're getting more efficient in our critiquing. All right, this one is... I need to figure out who it's from, so give me a second so I don't dox everybody's emails. This one is from Jake. Thank you, Jake. Here we are. All right, back to me. It is a starting soon stream thing. Oh, sick OBS, dude. Okay. Now, there's a lot of factors that we need to understand here to kind of critique this effectively. Depending on how long this starting soon screen is going to be up, I don't think I would have that that thing rotating that fast. It feels like it's really hustling, especially when there's really not much else moving on the screen at all other than those dots in the background. It just kind of feels like it stands out a little bit too much, you know? What I will say, I think starting soon screens, especially since they're so long, are a place to kind of like what we did with ours. I mean, we have like the bouncing O's and some of that other stuff, but it's generally a pretty slow, like ambient thing, you know? So I'd slow that thing down a little bit, and then I'd just give some of these other elements, like these guys on the side, you could mask into only this section so that they're also rotating, you know? So that way there's not just like so much attention here. There could be some sort of like shine that's going around the type or something, just so that it doesn't feel like it's so stuck there. And also just like maybe it like floats up and down a tiny little bit, you know? But if you're just gonna have this composition, I mean, look at Noah's posters that he's animated on Instagram or anything like that. Like when you've got something that is this static composition and you're not switching scenes and things, you better figure out how to do some fun animation on basically everything on this screen, you know? It doesn't have to be super engaging in every single part, but there better be some sort of ambient thing going on there, because otherwise why'd you put it there?
Yeah,
you know?
like on some of my posters, while a lot of the elements aren't animated a lot, some of the elements that I animate, I have to like tone it down because I'm like, that doesn't match how much everything else is being animated. Like that is something that I regularly run into, where I'm excited about this like center element and I give it a bunch of keyframes and I'm like, this looks awesome, but it doesn't fit the vibe.
Right.
So I have to just like lower the values or
Tone it
change the
down,
animation, just have it kind of mesh in with the rest of it.
Yep. Agreed. Let's go through one more. I don't really have anything else to say on this. I think well, I guess I could say like the colors on this don't really match the colors on this type don't really match these. This feels much more like golden saturated, and this is kind of like desaturated yellow, kind of getting green in there. But otherwise, I think the actual like design language is kind of fun. These guys feel particularly sharp. There's just, okay, you've got like your really thin stroke width, but whenever they get so close to the end here that they're touching, you kind of get these awkward little like, that's just Illustrator doing its thing, you know? To where it could be helpful to either make those outside, like the stroke is aligned to the outside, or you round those just a teeny tiny bit so that it doesn't have that weird like combining thing going on there. But I don't know. I would say most starting soons are like 60 seconds to 2 minutes, if not more, you know? So I think that everything we've said is pretty applicable, I think.
Yeah. And of course, when you're actually presenting it, not just on Streamable, don't have it go to OBS.
Oh,
But that
yeah.
goes without saying.
Yep. Rafi says, get well soon, Noah. Dude, everybody thinks you're still fucking sick.
I know. Listen, I still have the cough. I'm still a little congested, but I'm feeling totally okay. Don't worry about it. I'm okay.
Everyone is concerned. We need to start a GoFundMe for this man. You know?
Do I just look extra sickly today? Is that what it
I
is?
guess, man. I don't know what it is. Everybody is very concerned for you. All right? You should be honored. Oh, yeah. We got something from... Oh. Well, we have something from John Stewart, but it's the thing we already gave as a rec of the day the other day, so I'm just going to skip that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just going to skip that one. He doesn't even get to be boom roasted.
Boom roasted.
All right, here's Here's one more. It is unlisted. It's called Sleep Better by
Sleep
Manojit.
better. You better.
Here we go. All right, I'll set this thing to loop.
I thought that was milk.
I know what you're gonna have some issues with here.
Oh.
Oh. Okay. Let's
Okay.
let's turn the audio down and think about this a bit. That really this does very much seem like milk.
That looks like milk.
It does not really seem like alcohol.
Maybe make them brown bottles or something.
Yeah.
It's milk. I love this lamp. I will say.
It's really fun.
This lamp is fantastic.
It just
Its little wiggles and wobbles.
but there is
lovely.
one little moment where it feels like, I don't know if it's a highlight or something going wrong here, but it feels like this shade like pops out from here a little teeny tiny bit or something. I don't know. There's just like, maybe it's a stroke on there or something. It feels like there's just this one like slightly lighter pixel wide stroke on the side there, or that, or it's my monitor. I don't know, but I think that the actual lamp is pretty fun. I'm kind of taking issue with this.
I'm also taking
Specifically,
issue with this.
I don't know why in particular, because theoretically these colors should work okay. Maybe it just needs to be like desaturated and a little bit lighter than it is now. Maybe it's too dark on the blue.
Maybe.
But compared to the other ones, this one really stuck out as like these colors don't quite work together.
I got two little conceptual things there. One, the lamp doesn't actually like dim. You could have it turn off or something, but it just kind of like rocks back and forth. Can we watch the lamp again?
Yeah. Sorry, I went back further than I meant to.
That's fun. And then it's like still on though. It just moves to the left, and then that motion is not continued by the text. We can get into the text in a sec. Actually, let's get into the text now.
Let's get into the
The
text.
the text, one, the leading and like the actual font. The font is like the cap height for the font is pretty high, and the height of the actual, I guess it's the X height of the lowercase letters. Like there's a strong disparity between like the ascenders and the actual height of the small letters.
Here's how I
And-
would have laid out this type. Sorry, keep talking. I just am also screen sharing my Illustrator.
Okay. It makes it feel like uneven in a way. And the letting, like the line spacing is also pretty large, it feels.
I'm assuming
It
we got some
just feels off.
medium going on here. Maybe it's bold.
Also, there's no differentiation. You could like have certain words be different colors or something to sort of highlight different things, but it's just kind of a little strangely aligned block of text right now.
Let's grab that. Oh, that's why. It's because it's almost like a 100% gray. It doesn't really have any of the blue color in it. So it just feels a little odd. That feels a little better. I'll screen share for you. Hold on. I would have laid the type out kind of like this instead. Like you could get away with it being a lot smaller than it was, you know? Give it some breathing room on the side or something. This feels like kind of PowerPoint-esque just because it's so huge, you know?
It kind of feels like reading a children's book in a way.
A little bit, yeah. And like
Because, like, the
I don't
type
know
is
the
so
audience that this is geared towards, but I hope that no like 6-year-olds are drinking alcohol before bedtime. So, you know, I figure this is kind of an older audience. Also, I don't know why bedroom's capitalized. That kind of throws me off. Like it just kind of throws things out of balance. It's a little odd, but just like, you know, just give it a little bit more breathing room. It feels just a little bit more elegant. And like somebody said in chat just now, try no caps, not even first letter. It feels softer. I agree. I'd like this a lot more. And then you could even tighten up the kerning on this if you wanted a little bit. Just make everything a little bit tighter. This just feels like I understand that the language that we've set up here. Actually, no, that is why it looks kind of weird. Okay, so in these first bits, these are centered. Like, I understand that the text, like, realistically in After Effects, this text is left aligned, but you centered it in the screen, right? And look at how much space it's got. So, I mean, then you get here, but like, it just feels weird. Like, why is it left aligned? Everything up until this point has been centered, you know? It just, I don't know. And I think also part of it is just, you have such a wide screen, but yet you're doing like 3 rows of type. It just feels like it's not using the space as effectively, I guess.
There's also kind of a lot of big type on screen at once. Like if you look at Apple ads and some other kinds of typography based ads, you don't necessarily have to have all the text up at once.
It's like a couple words usually. Like you could have had tired, your sleep, and then cut to another one. Maybe the problem is its own thing, you know?
Or maybe and then problem can have its own little thing. Yeah.
And also, yes, I agree. This is a rather harsh blue that we're looking at, but I don't know. I'm not making a whole new color palette for this at the moment, but this one does need a little bit more work than some of the other ones, I think. Also,
there's still that capitalization that's very strange.
The maybe there's some like maybe it's for some association or something, and so these are like their pillars of like or their philosophy or something. So maybe they do it for that reason. I have no idea. But
Maybe.
Another thing that feels a little weird to me. First, this isn't visually centered. It feels like it's further over to the right side of the screen than the left, you know? That's feeling a little strange, especially since all these letters are like coming in from or some of them are coming in from the side and some of them aren't. It's kind of inconsistent that way, but at the same time, it starts to feel a little more PowerPointy also because we're getting like the exact same animation on the type each time, you know? It feels like it's a preset or something that you just hit like
sudden animation. Like
it's just like, oh, okay, there it is. You know, like there's no anticipation to make you understand that you're about to see something come up there, you know?
Yeah, maybe if you texted a little.
It's a little jarring. Only other thought I'll give on this, and then we got to get to our Rex. This scene, I think this is like it reacts in the way that you kind of expect it to, but the little guy on the bottom just appears there. He's
just there.
Pops into frame and it just hangs out there. There's no like you could make that teeter a little bit or something if you want. Like it wouldn't actually do that in real life, but it just feels so static and planted, you know? It could use just some sort of movement on it. But I don't know. But yeah, after like that many different scenes, that same type animation happening over and over again because it takes a second for it to actually settle on screen gets kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I like these guys though. I kind of wish they were hanging out like most of the video, but they're just kind of only at the beginning or at the end. I don't know. But I think those are animated really well.
I think he's cute.
But
yeah.
Anyway, also this is a fun little thing at the end. Which makes sense because it's not the majority of the video. Oh yeah, here it's not capitalized, but in these other places it is. But
I think you're right that it might be one of those.
You see how nice that this works though? Like I immediately am drawn to your name in this because it's the only thing that's not capitalized, you know? You could be putting emphasis on some things in here with that capitalization, but when it's just the first 2 words every time, it's like, okay, but people are going to read it anyway, you know? I don't. It just seems like kind of an odd choice. Anyway, shall we?
I hope that helps.
Shall we boom roast and just wreck it up? Wreck it, Ralph?
Wreck it up.
All right, I'm gonna need to open up my other rec that I had because I can't find it. There it is. Go ahead. Which I guess means that I'll go first because I am ultimately still screen sharing with the stream.
Go for it.
First of all, also, what up, old Garrett? You're in the chat, so shouts out, my friend.
Shouts out, bro.
He used #DailyMotionShow. Bet y'all didn't know that. Just saying, you could use hashtag Daily Motion Show, and this could be you. Anyway, this was part of the Ben Marriott collaboration that happened a couple weeks ago, and it just has fun colors. It looks like pretty gradients. You got a fun little arrow guy that gets obliterated by these Legos that are coming through. It's just fun. There's lots of like interesting little details and things. And I know that this is like a like extended cut of the like however many frames each student got in his course on that, but it's just cool. I really love the styling. I think the design is great.
I think it's very interesting, and I like the concept as well.
It's fun. It's a good time. It's a good time. Thank you. Shouts out. Now my other one that I want to give today is kind of an old one, but I do quite enjoy it. Did I close it again? I think I might have closed it. One moment. I'll open it up again. It is by Callum, and by golly, he just makes really fun things. I don't know why it's not loading. There we go. Now it doesn't have sound. I really wish it had sound, but like he calls it flexing those keyframes. He does this series. I think he's done like 8 of these now. And like, yep, it speaks for itself, you know? Animation just feels really good. When objects pop away, like the detail to be like, no, it can't just pop out. Like, look, it does that little like scribble away thing. Like that's so cool.
I love that.
It just feels so good, you know? I love it. I just really wish it had sound, but you know, I followed his stuff a really long time ago. I was surprised how long, like he was just freelancing and not working at a studio, but I think he got picked up like a year ago or something like that. Unfortunately, Review wasn't hiring them because we absolutely would have snatched him right up.
Yeah.
But sheesh, man. Shouts out to Callum. It's great. He also, for his most recent one, was streaming his process every day. Yeah, he was. I don't know how long all the streams are or anything, but yeah. So you can see some of the process. Not for this one, although maybe he did for some of this one too. I have no idea, but really, really cool.
Very cool.
Love his stuff. Those are my Rex.
Beautiful.
Now on to Noah with his Rex, which I need to grab your screen share. I am on your screen share.
This is just a tiny part of one of the videos that Elo did. They're fantastic. They do some great design stuff. Really solid, simple things. I just really like the expressiveness. I think it's cute. I just really like the scene. And this little guy is so expressive. Look at how he moves. He has a little bit of wobble and like, it's great. I love that.
It's a good time.
Just a little fun, like simple, you know, just sometimes you can keep it very simple and you don't have to make everything super stylized and stuff.
We just love Elo, you know?
They are a great example of how great design carries. Just everything they do.
Great concepting and,
yeah,
you know?
My other rec is this person. This person is the visual director for Zed, who's an electronic artist. And I don't see a lot of 3D artists time shit to music.
Super
but this
well.
person does it so well. And I would like to show just a couple of them. This one, these are also absolutely copywritten, so sorry, but it's worth it. So. It's so fun. It's so fun. I love that.
Banging.
These all of these are just banging. That's so satisfying. To have things also like on the beat. And this one's pretty cool. It's just like solid stuff all around. It's just he just does some really interesting visuals, and they're all very well timed, and I like it. I like it a lot.
We love it. We
Check
love
this
it
man out.
here. Well, on that note,
Those are my recs.
Those are our
and
recs.
That's the show.
And that's
Don't
the
forget
show.
to use daily
Hashtag Daily Motion
Daily
Show.
Motion Show for us to check out your work and maybe you wreck it. Oh my god! And then don't forget to submit your work in the link in the description for
Down there.
critique to get your work
Also, hey,
absolutely sauced.
you guys jealous of my review shirt today? You guys,
Oh my God, you have
you guys jealous of my review crew neck? You guys jealous of that? Oh, that's crazy. They're not for sale. I just wanted to show it off. I think it's comfortable and nice.
I was wearing my review sweatshirt yesterday.
He was. It's true. Now, on that note, tomorrow is the last day that we will have not met the other review team members in person.
That is wild.
Well, one of them. Mseti is coming tomorrow. We're very
Mseti is
excited.
coming tomorrow.
We're still doing the Daily Motion Show. It's going to be great. We actually, the only day that we won't be doing the Daily Motion Show is Thursday, and that's only if we can't manage to get connection in the airport. Because then we still might just stream from my phone.
That would be so
That
fun.
would be really fun. Everyone in the airport would hate us, but it would be awesome.
We would not be able to do like Rex, I guess.
Or any screen sharing at all. But we could talk
chat
about
for a
motion.
bit.
It'd be great. So anyway, be on the lookout for that, and we'll keep hanging every day.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Have a good day, y'all.
Have a good one. Goodbye. Go anime
Goodbye.
stuff, please.
Go, get
Oh
out of
my
here.
God, get out of here. Jesus.
Oh my god. Rascally rabbits.
That